I arrived at the old Marrowby Hotel just after dusk, its once grand facade now etched with the wear of time and whispered rumors of strange happenings. I was traveling with my elderly mother, Eleanor, whose frailty had grown more pronounced over the past few months. The hotel, nestled on the outskirts of a sleepy town, had an unsettling charm that both drew and repelled me, a relic of a bygone era rumored to have swallowed secrets whole. After a weary journey, we checked in at the front desk. The clerk's smile was polite but distant, and he hesitated before assigning us a room in the less traveled wing of the building. "Room 412, he said, sliding a heavy brass key across the counter. I noted the faded numbers on the key and couldn't help but feel a prickling unease, as if the room itself might harbor more than just echoes of the past. That night, as a bitter wind rattled the ancient window panes, Eleanor's condition took a sudden turn for the worse. I had barely settled in when I heard her labored breathing. Panic seized me as I realized her fever was spiking and her voice had grown weak. In desperation, I bolted from our room into the inky corridors, seeking help from the local clinic several blocks away. I left Eleanor resting in the quiet of our room, trusting that she would be safe for the few minutes I'd be gone. When I returned with a doctor in tow, the corridor's silence pressed in on me. The door to room 412 was ajar, a sliver of darkness beckoning me inside. But as I stepped over the threshold, the room was not as I had left it. The bed was neatly made, the nightstand undisturbed, and there was no sign of my mother. Confusion and dread twisted in my stomach. I rushed to the call button by the door, heart pounding, and summoned the front desk. At the reception, the clerk's eyes widened in a curious mix of sympathy and something unreadable. "I'm sorry, ma'am," he murmured, "but there's no record of a room 412 on this floor." I insisted that I had been there just moments ago, that Eleanor had been in that very room. The doctor, equally perplexed, searched his own notes and confirmed that the room did not exist on the hotel map. A cold sweat broke over me as the realization dawned. My mother had vanished without a trace. Desperate for answers, I scoured the labyrinthine halls of the hotel, knocking on doors and peering into abandoned nooks. In a forgotten archive tucked behind a concealed door in the lobby, I discovered a dusty ledger chronicling guests from decades past. Many names were crossed out, some with dates, others with cryptic notes hinting at unexplained disappearances. One entry, dated nearly 50 years ago, sent a chill down my spine. It bore my mother's first name, Eleanor, and a room number that no longer existed in any modern register. Night after night, I returned to the hotel, haunted by whispered voices and fleeting shadows. In the dim glow of a single candle in an abandoned lounge, I began piecing together the grim history of the Marrowby Hotel. It had once been a sanctuary for weary travelers, but beneath its polished veneer lay a sinister legacy, a curse that preyed on the vulnerable. The ledger suggested that those who checked into certain rooms were, in effect, marked, their lives erased from the fabric of the living. The hotel was a threshold between this world and a darker, unseen realm, where the past and present converged in ghostly whispers. In a desperate bid to reclaim what I had lost, I pored over local archives and old newspaper clippings, learning of a series of unexplained vanishings that had plagued the hotel for decades. Each case shared the same eerie pattern. A guest checked in, an unexplained incident occurred, and then, like a phantom, a room would vanish from every record, and with it, the person who had occupied it. Eleanor's name, I realized with dawning horror, had been predestined to join that spectral roster. Armed with this forbidden knowledge, I returned one stormy night to the room where Eleanor had been. Determined to bridge the gap between the living and the dead, I retrieved an old journal I'd found in the archives, a tattered collection of cryptic notes and incantations left by a previous guest who had dared to challenge the curse. With trembling hands, I recited the words aloud, my voice echoing off the peeling walls, pleading for my mother's return. The air grew thick and the temperature plummeted. In the mirror above the dresser, a hazy figure began to take shape, a woman with kind eyes and a sorrowful smile. It was Eleanor, her presence ethereal, hovering between the realms. Her gaze, full of unspoken anguish, met mine. In that suspended moment, I reached out and for a fleeting instant felt the warmth of her hand. But as quickly as she appeared, the figure dissipated into motes of dust and whispers. The encounter left me shattered yet resolute. Though I could not reclaim my mother's physical form, I had witnessed her spirit, a soul trapped by the curse of the vanishing room. With newfound determination, I vowed to expose the dark history of the Marrowby Hotel to ensure that its secret no longer claimed innocent lives. As dawn broke, I stepped out of the cursed building, burdened with loss, yet emboldened by the resolve to honor Eleanor's memory. Even now, whenever the wind whispers through my window, I hear faint echoes of that night, a reminder that some rooms once entered may never let you go.